Welcome to the Faith Together podcast, sponsored by the Center for Faith and Family at Olivet Nazarene University. It is good to have you with us today. Thank you for joining us. I am Leon, and I am here with my good friend Lindsey. It's good to see you today.
Good to see you too, Leon, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Yes, we are in the midst of the holiday season. Thanksgiving is behind us now, and it truly is the most wonderful time of the year, and we are celebrating it here on the Faith Together podcast with our Advent series, Oh Holy Night. We started it last week with some intentional ways that you as parents and caregivers can celebrate Advent with your family. So if you've not heard that episode, go back and listen. There's lots of good tips on there of ways to celebrate Advent together. But today we're going to jump into our Advent series of Oh Holy Night, focusing on the Christmas story and the story of Mary. But before we get to that, I want to introduce our special guest with us.
Yes, this is fun.
Yes, today our guest is Megan from Shine FM.
Yes. Hello.
Hi, Megan. Are you familiar with this location?
Yes. Usually I'm sitting in your chair.
Okay.
So it's strange for you to be in that one. Oh, that's funny. Well, Megan, we are so thrilled to have you with us on the podcast today. You serve as Shine's program director.
Yes.
And that means you just take care of all the things that go out on air for Shine, correct?
Yep. The biggest part of my job is choosing the music that airs on Shine. So all the Christmas music that you're hearing when you listen to Shine.fm, that has to go through my hands. So it's a lot of fun.
That kind of means she's kind of our boss.
It's true. It is very true.
So, because Shine is very generous in allowing our podcast to be aired on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we're so thrilled and thankful for you, Megan, because you help to keep our podcast on the right track and all of our tech questions and all the things that we need help with.
You guys are easy.
We couldn't do it without you. So I'm glad it's official. You're actually on the mic for an episode, but really every episode, Megan's here in some way or another.
That's right. Making sure we're not, my greatest fear, Lindsey, is that we get all the way through a podcast and I look over at the screen and realize I didn't hit record.
That is the worst.
Yeah. So far that hasn't happened.
Yeah. We've done great.
So I'm hoping we stay up with that, but Megan's the reason for a lot of that.
Yes. And Megan, you have your own podcast, correct?
Yes, I do. It's called The Home and the Maker. So it's all about homemaking, homesteading, natural living is in there too. So gardening, if you think about like things that you're eating, clean ingredients in that. And so all of that just then being pointed back to God. So I love getting to do that. So it's fun to have my own little podcast to do too.
Yeah. And so, and yours is a video podcast, right?
It will be in the new year.
Okay.
Still working towards that at this point.
Did I let the cat out of the bag?
Oh, no.
Okay.
The Home and the Maker.
Yes.
So we'll link to your podcast on our website. So if any of you are interested in listening, it's a great one. Well, Megan, we have a little tradition here on the Faith Together podcast in our Advent season to do a little game called Festive 4.
Okay.
Yeah, this is always fun. We never know what we're going to get.
Yes, there is a specific category that we want you to share 2 of your favorite Christmas things from.
Okay.
And today's category is 2 of your favorite Christmas songs.
Ooh, okay.
So you think about it.
Okay.
I'll start, and then Leon will go to you, and Megan, you'll wrap us up.
All right.
Okay.
So my 2 favorite Christmas songs are "O Come All You Faithful," because I love the worshipful chorus, "Oh Come, Let Us Adore Him."
Yeah.
It's just a good reminder of what the season's all about.
Right.
And then I confessed to you all last week that I have an obsession with snowmen. I love snowmen. I love collecting them.
Aww.
I love playing in the snow.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go with Frosty the Snowman.
Nice.
Oh.
Because I love the good Frosty story.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to share today.
That's good. So as you said, this is a tradition. And I think last year, one of mine was I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
No
so
way.
I decided to kind of go away from that and be a little more holy in my selections this year. This year. Oh, goodness. And so I chose Oh Holy Night, which kind of goes with our theme. It really is one of my favorite Christmas songs. But then the other one is Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And it dawned on me today that the reason I like that is because of Charlie Brown.
Oh, Oh.
So in the
Yes,
Charlie
the
Brown
end
Christmas,
scene.
it's how they end. And, you know, I love that one scene in the movie where, is it Linus that explains what Christmas is really all about? Yeah. And then they kind of all figure it all out. And then at the very end, they sing Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And so whenever I hear that song, I see that picture in my mind.
That is so good.
So, yeah.
Yes, I love that moment in Charlie Brown. What is Christmas all about? Yeah. How about you, Megan?
So I would agree with Leon that one of my favorites is O Holy Night, which I thought was funny when I learned the title of the series. I was like, how perfect. My dad, a long time ago, we had come home from my little sister's Christmas concert, and he had pulled up on YouTube his favorite version or his favorite Christmas song, which was O Holy Night, but it's specifically the David Phelps version. So he's like singing, it's like with the Gaithers, and it just, the way he's singing, he's like belting it. And so probably to be specific, that version, but I just love the song. And then my second one would be, because I get to pick two, right?
Yes, you do.
Probably O Come, O Come, Emmanuel. I think the mysteriousness of the song, like the way it sounds, because it's probably like in a minor key or something, but how mysterious it sounds, but the way that it builds to rejoice, rejoice, I think is just so beautiful. So that's probably my second favorite.
You know, there's so many really good ones out there. It's hard to miss.
There is. There's just, I feel like it's growing by the season too.
Yeah.
Like every, season, there's new ones that come out that whether you hear them here on Shine or, on your playlist at home, it's like, oh my gosh, that's such a great one too.
There's something special about the classics though.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The ones that just have remained throughout time.
Yes, it's so true. Well, speaking of the classic Christmas songs, we've mentioned O Holy Night a couple different times, and that's the title of our series that we're in right now. And we want to focus in on a line of O Holy Night today. And that line is a thrill of hope. A thrill of hope. And we're going to be taking a look at the Christmas story, specifically around Mary, Jesus's mother, and the hope and the thrill that she had when that angel came to visit her. And so today we're going to just talk about Mary, talk about her side of the Christmas story together. And so just to center our hearts on that story, Megan, would you read Luke chapter 1, verses 26? We're going to read quite a few verses through 55, just to get us centered in, focused in on the story of Mary.
Sure. Here we go. In the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God to a city of Galilee named Nazareth to a virgin betrothed to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David. And the virgin's name was Mary. And he came to her and said, "Greetings, O favored one, the Lord is with you." But she was greatly troubled at the saying and tried to discern what sort of greeting this might be. And the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. And behold, you will conceive in your womb and bear a son. And you shall call his name Jesus. He will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. And the Lord God will give to him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there will be no end." And Mary said to the angel, "How will this be, since I am a virgin?" And the angel answered her, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. Therefore the child to be born will be called Holy, the Son of God. And behold, your relative Elizabeth in her old age has also conceived a son, and this is the 6th month with her who is called barren, for nothing will be impossible with God." And Mary said, "Behold, I am the servant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word." And the angel departed from her. In those days, Mary arose and went with haste into the hill country to a town in Judah, and she entered the house of Zechariah and greeted Elizabeth. And when Elizabeth heard the greeting of Mary, the baby leaped in her womb. And Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit, and she exclaimed with a loud cry, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And why is this granted to me, that the mother of my Lord come to me? For behold, when the sound of your greeting came to my ears, the baby in my womb leaped for joy. And blessed is she who believed that there would be a fulfillment of what was spoken to her from the Lord." And Mary said, "My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, for he has looked on the humble estate of his servant. For behold, from now on all generations will call me blessed, for he who is mighty has done great things for me, and holy is his name. And his mercy is for those who fear him from generation to generation. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the thoughts of their hearts. He has brought down the mighty from their thrones and exalted those of humble estate. He has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he has sent away empty. He has helped his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy, as he spoke to our fathers, to Abraham and to his offspring forever. And Mary remained with her about 3 months and returned to her home.
Wow. Thank you, Megan. It's just beautiful to hear those words, especially this time of year as we think about the story of Mary. And Megan, I'm just wondering, why do you think God chose Mary for this role, and what qualities do you see in her?
I feel like he picked her because of multiple different reasons. I feel like there's a blend of obedience in her, humility, a submission to God's plan, because if you are told, and I mean, do scholars and theologians, they say she was maybe 14, right? And so for you to be so young, you're technically not married yet, and to be told you're going to be the mother of the Son of God, that's a huge weight, a huge responsibility. And so for her to so humbly accept God's plan for her, I mean, this was going to change the course of her life. So for her to so humbly say that, I think is huge, that she had to have humility and submission to God's plan, but also faith. I think she had to have that as well, because I think it could be so easy to walk away after the angel left and to go, was that a dream? Was that real? To just kind of ponder that for a while, but for her to have so much faith to say, even the words that, pulling it back around, to say, let it be to me according to your word. Just this acceptance of God's plan, this faith that what God said would come true. So I feel like there's a blend of all those things in her that I think God saw in her to choose her to be the mother of the Son of God.
Yeah, incredible trust, and probably a lack of understanding for sure. So Megan, for you, have there been times in your life when you've been asked by God to trust him in something that you didn't fully understand?
Yes. I can think of, like, in thinking about this question, there's probably two things that come to mind. One of them, I look back on it now and I think I should not have been so distraught about this, because I feel like with Mary, there was a rejoicing in what God had planned for her. I feel like with the circumstances in my life, it was more of like a distraught, kind of maybe more negative. But one of the circumstances, it was kind of a broken dream. Senior year of college, thinking I had my life all planned out, as seniors in college sometimes might feel that way. But when that kind of fell apart, I was super distraught. And really what God, like, just to sum this up in a nutshell, I feel like God, though he didn't like totally shift my direction, I kind of think of it like a train track where there's like the switch that switches the actual track that the train is on. It was like the same parallel track for me, just a little different. And it really grew me. So I can look back and say, God used that to grow me than what the original plan was. I know and can look and see God has taken me places that I don't know if I ever would have gotten to go had he left the original plan. And so I think that's a beautiful thing to look back and say, I was so distraught then, but look what God did. And then probably a more recent circumstance that has really been more, challenging, or more of the God I don't understand, is more of my struggle with mental health. And so that has left me more on my hands and knees and to say, Lord, I don't understand this. I don't understand why me. Why is this my story? And so I have to come to the conclusion of it being one of two things, or both, that this is my story because it will either be a testimony to somebody who needs encouragement, or both. That this also, like it says in, is it Paul who says, he talks about the thorn in his flesh, so that this could be the thing that keeps me dependent on God and that keeps me focused on him. And so it's one or both of those things. And I think there might be a quote from Charles Spurgeon that says, let me kiss the wave that throws me upon the rock of ages. So I'm like, if that's the case, then this is why this is my story, because this is what keeps me focused and dependent on God. So those are the two things.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I'm sure hearing that there are people that are listening today that will find comfort in that.
Yes, I agree. And I resonate with so much of what you shared of there's times in our lives that we just have to give up the right to understand.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially as planners.
Yes.
And as people not saying, well, what if the story could go this way?
Mm-hmm.
And why is this happening? But there's, I like to always remind myself, like, I know it's the Lord when it's not my idea because he usually works in ways that I'm not expecting.
Yes.
And those are the best ways, but it's hard to accept it in the moment.
Yeah. Especially like for me, like what you said, I'm like, I am a perfectionist, and growing up that I strove to be perfect. And so when you bring in like mental health struggles, which is like the opposite of perfection, I'm like, this is not what I had in mind, Lord. Like I tried so hard to be perfect, and it's definitely the opposite of that. So, yeah. So for you to say that, yeah, like this is what the Lord has brought in, but if it's for his glory and for my good to have that to lean on him, then let it be.
And the great thing about time is it gives us the ability to look back and to be able to say, man, that really was a struggle, but look what God has done through it, in and through me. And it's hard to live there when you're in the midst of it.
Yeah.
But again, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, in the story of Mary, we read a bit about Elizabeth. It's not really the story of Mary without the story of Elizabeth because they cross paths so closely. And I like to just think about this, Megan, like, who are the Elizabeths in our lives? People who help us recognize and rejoice in God's work around us. Because Elizabeth did that for Mary. She was able to call out to Mary and celebrate with her. This is God's work in your life. And we all need people like that in our lives, especially this time of year. It's easy to just get caught up in all the activity and the hustle and bustle, or maybe in the grief of losing someone and really feeling the weight of all of that on you.
Yeah.
It's important for us to look for the Elizabeths in our life, people that will recognize and rejoice in what God's doing around us. So who are those people in your life, Megan?
I feel like in this season of my life, I have so many that I can lean on. I mean, for my whole life, I would say my mom has always been that spiritual wisdom and guidance for me and for my sisters as well. And so it's been amazing to have my mom to lean on and to turn to, and even, you know, sending notes in college or whatever it was to say, you know, to really speak into me and what she saw God doing in me. And then I have godly sisters. And so it's just amazing what God is doing in their lives. And when I get to hear them talk about what God is doing, I have some godly friends, and I would say I found them in college, which is so refreshing. If you find a friend who you can talk to Jesus about, it's just like, like, this is so great.
It's true.
So find yourself a godly friend. But I think it's really cool now. My husband and I have been in a small group for about a year, and that small group was originally formed around the study of marriage. And so it's made up of lots of couples who are married. And so we have sometimes where we split into like the men and the women, and the men have their own group chat too, and the women have their own group chat. And so it's really cool to now have for a year this community of women who we can share prayer requests. We can lift each other up. I can learn from them because many of them are older than me. I think I might be the youngest one in the group, actually. But it's cool to have them to lean on as well. And then something really, really special in my family is that on my mom's side, every year we will take a trip to Shipshewana, Indiana. And it's my grandma, my two aunts, and then my mom. And then so my sisters, it's like the girl cousins now. So this generation, my generation, gets to go along. And there's some time that we spend in the evening and in the morning as well, just sharing each one at a time what God has been doing in their lives. And so it's really, really cool to get to have that perspective as well. And so to have my aunts speaking into me, or my grandma, and just to hear other life experiences. So I think that's a really beautiful thing that I've gotten to see now as I've gotten older.
What a gift. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
I was just thinking about, you mentioned different groups in your life, the small group you're a part of. your family group, your friend group, all these different groups. And I think about the importance of having those people in our lives that are there to walk the journey with us.
Yeah.
I would just encourage our listeners, if you are not a part of a small group, I suspect your church has an organized small group ministry. Find a group to get a part of. There is something, God did not create us to do this journey alone.
Right.
And we really do need each other. And I just encourage you to consider doing that. So thank you for
Yeah, I really thought that would be a struggle for us to fit in. I think the time commitment was what I was most afraid of a year ago. And so it was like, well, my husband and I, we have so much in the evenings as far as like getting the chores at home done and exercising. It's like, the woman thing of like, how do I do all the things, right? How do I fit in a small group into all this and cook dinner? And so really though, somehow, we said yes. And it has been so, so good. And we do have time for it. And so I would, like you said, I would highly recommend it. And even though you might not think you have time for it, I think the reward is greater to realize like, yes, I'm a part of this group and it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, as I think about the text you read, the part that just kind of jumps out at me is Mary's song. And I think sometimes we don't recognize this as a song. We just kind of read it as part of the text, but it really is this song of gratefulness, thankfulness that she sings to God, a gratitude for the opportunity that she will have. It's verses 46 through 55 from the text that you read. So what do you think we can learn, Megan, from Mary's song that would help shape our own worship and gratitude toward God during this Advent season?
I think what's incredible about what she did is that she focused on attributes of God and his actions and who he is. Because I'm tempted to read it, and especially the line where she says, let's see, which one is it? All generations will call me blessed. I'm like, okay, Mary, like that sounds like bragging.
A little self-serving, huh?
Yeah, but to read that in context where she says, and holy is his name, actually, for behold, from now on, all generations will call me blessed, for he who is mighty has done great things for me. So she's recognizing this is from God. He has done great things for me. So she's accepting this blessing, but also recognizing who it comes from and just underlining all of the different things and the actions of God. He has looked on the humblest state. His mercy is for those who fear him. He has shown strength with his arm. And there's more in her song, just pointing to the actions of God and to who he is. And I think in my life, that's probably where I have a hard time as well with worshiping God. Is I'm more apt to thank him and to think of the things he's done for me, whereas to just recognize who he is, I think is more reason for praise. He's sovereign, he's mighty, he is all powerful, omnipotent. Like there's all these things about who God is. And I miss that when I'm just so focused on me. And I think another cool thing that I was thinking about when I was reflecting on this passage is that she also recognizes this isn't just about her. She ends it by talking about God's promise and his faithfulness to Abraham and to King David, where she says he has helped his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy as he spoke to our fathers, to Abraham and to his offspring forever. So she's not just in her song going, thank you, God, what you've done for me. My life is awesome now. It's more of, God, this is who you are. You have done great things for me and what you have done for Israel. So she's looking beyond herself.
Yeah.
It reminds me of your point, Leon, a few minutes ago of just remembering what God has done and clinging to those promises in those moments that we're unsettled or things are unknown. When we remember what he's done, we can see truly who he is in our reality right in front of us. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And I think there's something really significant about recognizing God's role in our lives and kind of holding on to that. I think about, we know how the story is going to progress, and we know that soon Mary is going to be taking the baby to Zechariah and to
Simeon
and Anna.
That's it. Simeon and Anna. Thank you.
Yeah.
And they're going to proclaim that her heart is going to be pierced because of this child.
Right.
And so in those hard times, being able to hold on to, look what God has done. And I can hold on to that to make it through those difficult times. Well, thank you, Megan. We really appreciate you being with us. We appreciate all you do at Shine and all the help you have been to us. And we wish you a very, very Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Megan.
So if you're interested in our Advent curriculum that we have many times made reference to, you can find that at centerff.com. And it's a great curriculum to do on your own, but even better to find a small group of parents that would love to go through that with you and to learn about ways that you can participate in the Advent season as a family. Well, before we wrap up this episode, we want to do our final tradition, which is Lindsey reading from a Christmas story book. And we introduced this book last week on our podcast.
Yes.
And so I'm going to let you introduce the book and then read for us the story of Mary.
Yes. So many of you that tuned in last week heard that we are reading from the same book each week during this series called The King is Coming. And this is a book that coordinates alongside the Advent blocks, which is a great tool to use at home with your kids to share the true story of Christmas all about Jesus. So today I'm going to be reading a story on page 93 of the book. This is for day 21 of the Advent blocks, and it's about Mary. It's called God Does Something New. There were 3 people, a mommy, a daddy, and a baby. The mommy's name was Mary, and almost a year before she went into the temple, she had a very surprising experience. Mary was in her house minding her own business when suddenly the room filled with a dazzling light. Mary strained her eyes to look into the light and could just make out a figure. It looked a bit like a person, but it was far too bright to be any person she knew. Then the figure spoke. "Hello, Mary. God is with you." And Mary realized it was far too loud to be any person she knew too. That's when it hit her. This is an angel. Mary had never seen an angel before. She was afraid, but the angel said, "Don't be afraid. God is coming to stay. Mary, you will get pregnant today." Mary was confused, very confused. It sounded like good news that God was coming to stay, but Mary wasn't even married. How was she supposed to have a baby? The angel explained that God was doing something new. He wasn't just sending a baby. This time, he was sending a baby king. He was sending Emmanuel, God with us. And as soon as the angel said this, it reminded her of the promise God had made to the prophet Jeremiah. Does it feel like you're all alone? Does it feel like my plans aren't working anymore? That's not the case. I'm still with you, and I still have a plan. Not just today for a plan, but a tomorrow plan. In fact, it's a forever plan, and a good one too. It's a plan to take all the wrong and make it right, to take all the darkness and make it light. It's a plan to bring you back to me. Come back to me and I'll come back to you. And when I do, you'll remember what another prophet said, Emmanuel, which is a name that means God with us. Mary's jaw hit the floor. Her child would be the king everyone had been waiting for. Mary was still afraid of the bright, loud angel. She was afraid of having a baby. She was afraid of how many questions she had about the whole thing. But she also believed the angel. She didn't know how, and she didn't know why. But she was sure that what God promised would come true. And because she believed God, God was with her. Even though she was confused, even though she didn't even have a husband, even as she got bigger and bigger and bigger with a pregnant belly, God was with Mary. Emmanuel, Mary whispered to herself, God is with me, and he will be with us forever. Mary was so overwhelmed by this that before the angel even left, she sang, "For such a long time, God seemed far away, but now he has heard what we hoped and we prayed. God is coming to earth to stay."
When building faith, we are better together.